Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Grain Feed, brought to you by EverAg. This is your weekly news feed for all things grain and all things feed. Each week we bring you updates on the markets with unique perspectives from an amazing team of analysts with the intention of helping dairy and livestock producers manage their risk. I'm your host, Jim Matthews, reporting from the Chicago office on a lovely fall morning in the Second City. Joining me, as always, from Texas, Director of Feed Procurement, Mr. Jake Kingsley, and making his first appearance on the Grain Feed from Wisconsin, crop insurance agent Mr. Justin Foegen. Team, how are we today?
Doing well this morning, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a rainy little week here in Chicago, so kind of nice to see some sunshine a bit this morning.
Same in Wisconsin.
Yeah, you been getting this rain?
Strange to see it.
Yeah.
Great.
Jake?
No rain down here. Still a little bit warm, fairly dry, but we're out of summer for sure.
Yeah, you cooled down, right, Jake? You're in like the 90s now?
We're in the mid-90s now.
Texas problems.
About 15 degrees off the old highs. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Texas problems is right, Justin. Unbelievable. Just a nice, cool fall day in the mid-90s. Squad, we got a lot to chat about today. We're excited to have Justin on the show. We've got a lot to run through with him. So let's run through the markets real quick and have Paige kindly timestamp the broadcast. It is Thursday morning. We've got the markets. Depending on what you're looking at here, we're up just a touch on corn. We're down a bit on beans and up a bit on meal. We'll get a little bit more specific here. We've got D's corn trading right around 485, so starting to push kind of towards the higher end of the range that we've been stuck in now for the past few weeks. Still elusive of that $5 per bushel mark, but we've also got a big report tomorrow that Jake is going to touch on as well. So perhaps we continue to push these fresh highs as we move forward. We have Nove beans back under $13 a bushel again. We're right around $12.95 as we record. We did trade above 13 this morning, so we're kind of watching that very psychological number of $13 a bushel on Nove beans. And good old December meal, that stubborn little byproduct, is back above $3.90. Again, this morning, Jake and I have been talking about that market a lot here on the show and how that sub 390 level is often short-lived. So sure enough, we're back above this morning. And again, depending on how markets trade here over the next few weeks, all eyes will be on that $400 per ton figure should the market be supported here through the soybean harvest. It's been an interesting little stretch here. Again, we will get into the report that will have a most likely significant impact on markets tomorrow, Friday. But first, we're going to turn to our crop insurance agent, Justin. What is going on in the crop insurance world? We've had a lot of activity here from clients asking us about specific products, one of those being PRF. Justin, what on earth is PRF?
So PRF, pasture, rangeland, and forage, is an area-based policy available through the lower 48 states. Nice policy, very, very consumer-friendly. It is strictly one peril only, meaning that it's only a rainfall-based. So you want to insure hayland, grazing, anything like that. It's just a very, very simple policy. You choose the land that you want to put it on. Actually, it's one of those strange policies that you don't even have to insure all of your land. So if you only want to insure half of your land or only half of your grazing land is in question, just insure half of it. It's not a real big deal. So very, very easy for the client. Basically, choose the hayland that you want to insure. When there is not enough rainfall to suffice, basically, you will automatically trigger a claim and you're just going to get a check in the mail. No adjusters, no phone calls, nothing like that. It is very, very easy and straightforward for the producer.
Oh, that sounds pretty simple. What am I missing with this product here, Justin?
Not a whole lot. It's irrigated, non-irrigated, hay grazing. Choose a percentage, choose which months you have in question that actually you might have the question on as far as what what months are going to produce, what months are you waiting on rainfall that you're not going to receive, and it just automatically attaches. The biggest thing is we do have 2 months until the sales closing date, which is December 1st.
Okay, so that's a significant date then. So we're 2 months out from that key deadline. Justin, is there a specific area of the country or areas of the country that might utilize this insurance more than others?
Not necessarily. It doesn't matter if you basically just have hay, if you're baling hay, if you're have cattle out on pasture and you just want to insure those areas, you can certainly do that. Biggest thing is you have to insure the acres that the cattle are actually on. It uses rainfall indexes based off of NOAA, off of the weather stations. Very, very simple for the producers. Hay, organic, non-organic, irrigated, non-irrigated. You can insure it all on this policy.
Okay, excellent. We've had a lot of questions and interest from really a variety of our clients and friends here at EverAg. Would this apply to row crop producers at all, Justin?
Yes, if a row crop producer is actually growing a little bit of hay on the side, I live in the area of contour strips, so there's a lot of people that do bale up the contour strips and sell the hay off. It can work for all of these producers.
Good deal. And are there any restrictions on using PRF while also using, let's say, DRP or LRP or other crop insurance products?
Not at all. Actually, it's nice that it can line up with a lot of the livestock insurance products. So it's pretty simple on that aspect too.
Okay, excellent. And Justin, you just joined us here at EverAg not too long ago, and at a great time, right? This is really starting to pick up a lot of steam, so we're very happy to have you here. Any other tidbits on what you are doing at EverAg or the products that you are offering before we turn her over to Jake?
So my focus is multi-peril crop insurance. So EverAg has done insurance in general for a long time. I am the first step into doing row crop insurance. So corn, beans, wheat, stuff like that. That is where I'm going to start on. And we're going to see what we can do to basically create a few more avenues for our clients and producers to see what can we do to kind of be a one-stop shop for the producer.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Justin. Excellent insight and great to have you both here at EverAg, but also, of course, on the show. Let's turn her over to Jake. Jake, you are a one-stop shop yourself there, bud. What's happening in the physical feed markets this week?
Well, I don't think we've had a whole lot of change week over week here. We've been talking through basis markets and cash markets here for a while. Everything seems to have kind of stagnated, kind of waiting to see what shakes out of harvest yield-wise and what our U.S. production looks like before we turn to a export program and then a South American growing season. So not a whole lot has changed there. If any big moves week over week, I would say that maybe canola basis continues to feel firm, and we're seeing more and more numbers come in from early harvested acres that would say that the corn crop ought to be pretty close to what current USDA projections show and give us more confidence that we're probably going to see another cut to soybean yields. I think we could see a cut to corn yields, but I don't know that it's significant enough to really shock the market. But I think we could trim soybean yields to a point that we have a razor thin balance sheet before this thing's all said and done. And we'll find out about that here in a couple of weeks as harvest really hits its stride. Next thing we're looking at, Friday, September. Next thing we're looking at is on Friday, September 29th. We're going to have the quarterly stocks report come out. And that one tends to be a little bit of a mover and a shaker for the marketplace. We'll see some disappearance on the corn stocks they have there, which will then be reflected in October's WASDE as the carry-in or beginning stocks for that crop year. Same thing on the bean balance sheet. I think the market is anticipating a small cut to corn on Friday. I don't know that they're anticipating a whole lot of change on the bean side yet, but we will see. I think, what time does that thing come out on Friday? Do you know?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock Central Time. So all eyes will be on that thing. And then same day, different problem. We'll be watching to see if we have a government shutdown or not. That could have some surprising effects on the market. A lot of our folks, as Justin had just talked, utilize insurance tools that are run by the government. And so There could be issues with payments or writing new policies, things of that nature. The feed team is a little bit concerned if this shutdown is extended that we stop getting our regular reports, such as the weekly crop harvest progress reports. The WASDE, like we said, is due out October 12th. And so we go into harvest, we kind of rely on these things to understand just how things are moving along, what yields are doing, and to jump right into harvest at what feel like are some market lows and start flying blind with some of this data gets you a little bit nervous. So we're keeping an eye on a couple of those things.
Jake, anything going on in the cottonseed market we should know? Because you kind of started to sniff out some support in that market here, let's say a month or two ago, and you got on the horn with a bunch of our dairymen and cattlemen and just talking about markets in general. But for specific regions of the country, you specifically brought up cottonseed for those feeding it, especially for our dairymen. And you kind of started to sniff out some strength coming, got some guys to step in and get some locked up. What's been happening in that market now over the last, let's say several weeks?
Yeah, thankfully, I think we got ahead of that thing for a lot of our folks. The move we had been concerned with and anticipating is here. In a lot of the country, cottonseed prices for the coming feed year have jumped up $30, $40, $50 a ton. So that's a significant move in a matter of a week or two. And unfortunately, with the loss of the Texas crop, I don't know that it gets any better than the numbers we're at today. So if you did miss the first opportunity, it's probably still worthwhile to get in and get something done here on some of your remaining exposure, or maybe even a lot of your remaining exposure. Again, I don't think we run this thing up into the $600 mark like we did on the West Coast last year, or high fours, low fives in Texas, but we may be something like 500 in California and 400 in Texas, and high threes to low fours in the Midwest. Maybe $100 off of last year's high, but still another $75 higher than we are today. So that's a crop that just doesn't tend to get better over the course of time. It's kind of one of those silver bullet commodities that has a little bit of protein, a little bit of energy, a little bit of fiber. And so it does really well in the ration. Nutritionists love it. It's hard to eliminate that completely. And so if you're going to feed it, identify your minimum number and probably at least get that piece bought.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that, Jake. Good insight. And you touched on a few items the feed squad's been watching. We've also, along with our other teams here at Everag, have been watching outside markets such as crude oil. We've been talking about that in a lot of our regular calls with customers, how crude has very quietly, let's say, melted up to $90 a barrel and now beyond. So we're trading mid 90s, 95 on the spot WTI market this morning. So not the best timing in the world to have crude suddenly jump back towards $100 a barrel again for the first time in quite a bit. Seasonally, I think we usually find maybe a little bit more pressure in that market now that we got all the kiddos back to school. Energy consumption maybe not as high yet because we're not hitting winter just yet in most of the country. So unfortunate to see that market continue to escalate. And of course, the potential support that gives the corn market as well as the soy complex. We're also watching the dollar, and the dollar has also moved up alongside crude, which one would think those two markets would usually trade somewhat inversely, as crude is a dollar-denominated commodity. The stronger the dollar is, the harder it is for folks outside the U.S. to step in and buy U.S. products. So an interesting market we're watching is where to see both of those moving higher in tandem. So just a couple items for everybody to watch over the coming weeks. But like you said, Jake, we've got the big stocks report tomorrow that does usually provide a little bit more volatility than that September WASDE report that we had a couple weeks ago. Tomorrow is Friday. It is the end of a month. It is the end of the week, end of a quarter, right? There's just a lot going on. And then to add to all of that, the government might be closed on Monday, which not super great. But Justin, while we have you here, we can't forecast what's going to happen over the government shutdown here. And we know that those can truly last just a matter of hours or days. But we've also seen those last a full month. And Jake and I are concerned that, like Jake said, we're not going to have the weekly harvest reports here for a bit. We're not going to have our October WASDE report. I mean, some people might wonder if we have a Speaker of the House here in a week or so. But from your side, Justin, from an insurance standpoint, again, we can't predict or forecast what is going to happen, but anything we should be paying attention to should the government shut down for a certain period of time?
We are watching pretty diligently to see what's actually going to shake out. I have reached out to a couple of our AIP partners here as of recent, and a lot of them are kind of along the lines of, hey, we're hoping that there's a resolution here in the near future. However, until that all shakes out, we don't really know what's going to happen until October. So unfortunately, next week, Monday, we are going to have considerably more news, unless they came out with a Hail Mary as of tomorrow. But until then, we might just have to brace up and wait until Monday morning. And come Monday morning, we will have some news one way or the other and be able to advise farmers on how they can best go forward on this.
Good deal. That sounds good. Thank you for that, Justin. That's right. Well, fingers crossed that things are going to work out and have a resolution as we enter the weekend. Odds appear to be low, but again, maybe we'll get a Hail Mary in there somewhere. Before we get to a couple other Hail Marys, Jake, let's just do a couple bold predictions for tomorrow's report. We're going to keep things real simple for tomorrow's stocks report. Truly bullish or bearish, because we are hoping or anticipating for a little bit of volatility in that report. Things have been quiet. We've been stuck in some ranges. Markets have been a little bit of a lull, especially on the corn front. So maybe tomorrow could be a spark one way or the other. So, Jake, corn, bullish or bearish?
I think it's got to be slightly bullish.
Okay. So we're going to take a few more bushels out of the ending stocks number than the market is anticipating.
I think so. Maybe a little bit more corn got flushed out of the bins than we realized here late in the season. And these markets have been kind of laying down here towards the lows for quite a while. I feel like they're looking for a reason to pop.
Yeah, just give me a reason to step in and buy that corn, right? And we watch Tech Talk too. Andy has referenced a couple of times that the more you continue to just kind of test the same low over and over and over, maybe ultimately that's the market telling us this is the low, guys. We keep testing it. It's time to step in and own it there. But I think our overall sentiments on the corn market itself are unchanged in terms of not being uber bullish, having a ton of upside anxiety on that market. But again, we're just talking about tomorrow's report, the impact it might have heading into a weekend. Jake, you're calling bullish. What about beans, Jake?
Yeah, I think that one might be a little bit bullish as well.
You're just bullish all around. Put the horns on.
I think so. For a little while here. They may be doing something to try to help ease the blow of reducing yields on the October WASD. So I don't know. Maybe layering into this bullish sentiment on beans. Sure. I feel like they have to do it at some point.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe the government was looking at the SEP WASD. They know they've got the OC WASD coming up. Maybe they move some stuff around here on this report and then are able to use the WASD numbers off of that. Maybe that's where we're going with this.
Maybe.
Justin, I'm going to ask you as well. Corn tomorrow. It's going to be bullish or bearish?
I'm going a little bit bullish. Like you said, things have been fairly calm for far too long. We need some excitement in the markets.
Yeah, okay. Let's get some of that excitement in the markets. I like that. What about beans, Justin?
Beans are the wild card. I don't know if I want to comment one way or the other on beans.
Oh, wow. Okay, beans are so dicey that, Justin, you don't even want to comment on it.
Nope.
That's how volatile that bean market might be tomorrow. We might go to 12.50, maybe even 12. We might even go back up to 14. Who knows what's going to happen on beans?
Hopefully not that.
Yeah. You know what? That's the smartest thing that's been said on the entire show. Gents, we also got a lot going on. Justin, you've got a big game tonight, prime time, right? You're up in Wisconsin. You've got Detroit coming in town. They're awfully cocky. They're awfully confident. They think they got you guys. Bold prediction. What's going to happen in tonight's game?
We might lose.
Detroit at Pitt. You might lose.
We might lose.
It's going to be a tight one, that's for sure. It's going to be a tight one.
I want to say we're going to win, but I'm not going to say we're going to win. We could lose.
You're talking to a Bears fan, so I hear you, bud. I hear you. Jake, we got the Chiefs. Are they at the Jets? Jets?
Mm-hmm.
Jets. What's going to happen in that game, Jake?
I hope they clean up.
Oh, yeah. Hope so too, bud.
On the street. Our girl Taylor's going to be there too.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, this past week, the Bears played the Chiefs on air. Right, I said that the Bears would kick a field goal. Right, Jake, you said I said Bears would win by a field goal. I said they'd kick one. That's my prediction, which they did. They kicked a field goal. That was great. Kind of that high school football feeling of just like Mahomes just kind of had his way with like our JV team, it felt like, and throwing touchdown to Taylor Swift's boyfriend, all that jazz. But probably a big Sunday for you, Jake, because you had Taylor Swift and the Chiefs combined all in one universe. Were you just the happiest man on the face of the earth?
It was great. Dallas Fort Worth is out of market for Chiefs games, and all of a sudden they were on every cutaway from the games that were live here. It was amazing.
We're gonna have a new study from economists on like the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift effect on stadiums. I mean, the Jets might be nationally televised now. Who knows?
You're right. This lady is staving off recessions. She's saving the country.
Well, we'd love to get her on the show and ask her for some bold predictions, Jake. So if you could help make that happen, we'd love to get her on here. So stay tuned for that, folks. And by the way, the Broncos are coming to Chicago for the Toilet Bowl game. And again, on the record, Bears by a field goal. Off the record, I hope the Bears kick a field goal. So that being said, team, excellent work today. A huge thanks to Justin for joining the show. It was great to have your insights on insurance today. Awesome having you. We'd also like to thank Corey and the Everag Insights crew for their support. Thank you to Paige for her production magic. And thank you to the viewers for watching the Grain Feed. Also, join us at the World Dairy Expo next week, where Everag will be debuting our maternity warden product. So stop by booth 4425 to learn more. That's booth 4425. And just come say hello. There'll be a handful of us Everaggers present, Justin and myself included. So very excited to get back to Madison and see the crew. Looking forward to it. Contact information is on the screen. We greatly appreciate your feedback. That's all for today. We'll see you next time on the Grain Feed.